In this video, we are going to be looking over what is to come in the near future for Battletech. The Ilclan era has been filled with an acceleration of warfare so far, and while not wholly devastating the worlds it's taking place on for the most part, as the nature of the fighting is not resulting in high-intensity conflicts in the same way as usual, with a few exceptions, the scale of these wars have taken the Inner Sphere by storm. The fall of Terra to Clan Wolf and the destruction of the Republic of the Sphere are only the start. The decimation and destruction of Clan Jade Falcon took place in all of this, along with the harrowing of the Wolf Dragoons. Tomorrow Rising would see the formation of several balkanized states out of current and former Lyran territory, as well as violent clashes between several major bodies, involving the struggling and bankrupt Commonwealth, Clan Hell's Horse, the remnants of the Jade Falcons, the Tamar Pack, and several smaller, new states. Empire alone is perhaps the broadest conflict we've seen between two powers, with the resurgent Free Worlds League provinces pouring over the borders into the poorly defended remnants of the Wolf Empire. This is to say nothing of the League's war with the Marians, or the Endurian provocations and betrayal of the Capellan Confederation. Conflict has spread across the Inner Sphere like wildfire, and that fire is finally spreading to the other half, or rather, we're going to see the exploration of the blaze in the upcoming book, Dominions Divided. This upcoming product is going to document the long-standing brutal war between the Draconis Combine and the Federated Sons. The conflict, which has been unfolding in-universe, took several years to form and began due to immense changes happening inside both House Carita and House Davion. In this, I will attempt to give a brief overview of what has been taking place to lead to these events. For the Dragon, the origins of this conflict lay in the beginning of an immense dynastic change inside of the Combine. The royal family of the state, namely the most recognized branch of House Carita, would be destroyed in a series of accidents and overt assassinations. This appears to have been masterminded, at least in some way, by Mechwarrior Toranaga, who would become the power behind the throne of the new coordinator, someone he would help install. Yori Sakamoto, or Yori Carita, as she is known, was installed despite being a bastard descendant of Theodore Carita through Franklin Sakamoto. To start with, a campaign would be waged against the contested worlds on the Davian border after this took place, though this campaign did not last long before internal disputes came onto the scene. The problem is, on the other side of this, Emi Carita would be revealed to be alive, and would be supported by Clan Novacat, which had resided within the Combine. Their support of her, as she was the closest to the throne by succession, was also in an attempt to become the power behind the throne. This would be the greatest contest to Yori's rule, along with her primary supporter, Toranaga. The dispute would rapidly turn into a civil war, and would result in a series of brutal clashes, before the Draconis Combine launched a full invasion into their vassals' region. Backed by the Wolf Dragoons, the DCMS would fight and defeat the Novacats, and would annihilate their warrior caste, or at least all that were in reach. By the end of the conflict, Toranaga was viewed as someone not to be trifled with, especially in regards to the consolidated throne. Tensions would be on the Dragon's border, however, including with the Rasalhague Dominion, the Federated Sons, and the Raven Alliance. What would follow would be the resumption of hostilities with the Federated Sons, using a multitude of rebuilt units cycled out from the prior engagement. This would be one of the most successful military incursions in the history of the Draconis Combine in their many conflicts against the Federated Sons. Several notable figures were killed, including Duke Sandoval, who had been leading the defense and a fantastic counterattack prior to the Combine's re-invasion, as well as the first prince himself, Caleb Steiner Davian, a much reviled figure in the history of the Federated Sons. The annihilation of huge portions of the Federated Sun's military during these engagements opened up a path to creating a salient, a breakthrough into Davian space, which would come to be known as the Dragon's Tongue. The tongue would extend out, plunging into the very heart of the Federated Suns, New Avalon, the capital. With its seizure and its fall, Yori Karita will be remembered in the histories, as well as, of course, the power behind her throne, Toranaga. The Federated Suns prior to this had itself gone through upheaval. Long has it not been connected to its former ally, the Lyrans, after the breakup and civil war between the once superstate, the Federated Commonwealth. However, the ruling family of House Davian has still been descendants of Hans Davian and Melissa Steiner ever since the breakup of the former state, at least until more recent events. Caleb Sandoval Davian was an unlikely figure to come to power, despite his place as the heir apparent. Mentally ill, and with the wrong demeanor to be in charge of a state, his father Harrison would attempt to inform his son of this in private, and would accidentally fall off a balcony as a result, leading to Caleb's ascension to the throne. The man who was Harrison's choice to replace him was Julian Davian, and he was sent on errands designed to lead to his untimely death as a result, though the latter would survive the adversity they were put through, and build up his rapport yet further, rather than falling from grace. Caleb's rule is mired with mental illness, mistakes, and obsessions. Without going too far into some of the darker details, he would allow, and even lead incursions, into his effective ally, the Republic of the Sphere, and would create more than a cause belli for House Liao to seek revenge upon him and his state. His rule would culminate in a failed attempt to battle the Combine during Operation Mandragora, in what is known as the Palmyra disaster. This counteroffensive was designed to throw the dragon back to their borders, but instead would end with the near annihilation of much of the Federated Sun's standing military. Caught in their mustering point and not prepared for the DCMS offensive coming their way, this enormous AFFS assembly was destroyed ruthlessly. Though they would attempt to capture Caleb Davian alive, he would be killed by the end of the campaign, along with the overwhelming majority of the forces that had been collected for Operation Mandragora. This would open up an intense crisis for the Federated Suns, and it would open the door for their collapse and defeat on their own capital world, New Avalon. With Caleb dead, however, Julien Davion would come to be installed as first prince. Seasoned by several almost hopeless campaigns, Julian would go to work to rectify and restore the Suns. Winning a campaign first against the military juggernaut of the Capellan Confederation in Operation Cerberus, and even squaring off against his famed counterpart, Denial Liao, though this would cost him a leg. For the Federated Suns, they are now mustering for a counterattack once more. The war has not ceased with the dragon, though they've started to pick away at the extended assets of the Combine. Calls have been made multiple times to liberate New Avalon. Julian Davian's domain demands its return, and an end to the Dragon's Tongue. With mercenaries being acquired in huge numbers, he prepares for the battle that will return his house to glory, or doom his reign as first prince, and divide his domain yet further with internal discord. Though these two powers are the biggest, as well as the most central in this war, and so much so that their battle is displayed on the book's cover, there are in fact many players we are going to see in this escalated conflict in 3152, describing the region where these wars are happening. The sleeping giant in all this is the Rasalhague Dominion, the successor state to Clan Ghostbear and the Free Rasalhague Republic. A hybrid state of Inner and clan society, they have dealt with a multitude of issues on their own. The Republic has collapsed to their south, and the Combine has been raiding them from the east, increasing tensions. They would even participate in the destruction of Clan Novacat by slaughtering a cluster which fled from the Combine into their space. With Clan Wolf capturing Terra and being declared Ilclan, things would become more complicated for them. I recommend reading the latest novel at the time of this video, A Question of Survival. But to touch on this briefly, the Dominion itself would be torn asunder by the decisions around this, to join the Star League or not join the Star League. Now it is at open war with itself. How will it look on the other side? We're not sure. Will we see the conflict spill over into other zones, like the Combine's borders or the Federated ones? Almost assuredly. For the Rasalhague Dominion, this era will be a story of a Dominion divided, and perhaps even a question of its own survival, if it can persist after such an internal and violent discord. Peripherally, there are still two other factions who will make their presence known in all of this tragedy. The first to look at is a faction known for its fierce independence, the Taurian Concordat. The Taurian Concordat is a state that has effectively imploded, at least from its maximum borders, though the central government does still exist and has a host of worlds loyal to it. It's dramatically shrunk due to the coup led by House Doru, leading to the formation of another periphery state that would become known as the Calderon Protectorate in response. Though there is an arrangement to see these states merge once more back into a significant periphery state power, notably through the marriage and union of House Calderon and House Doru. They are slated to make an appearance in this, though in what capacity we are yet to know. If they are to appear, it implies that the Taurians, and potentially the Calderon Protectorate, will be dragged into the fighting somehow, or into another region of operation in some way, either engaging in hostilities on its immense border with House Davian, or perhaps uncharacteristically offering aid in exchange for favor. Though there are perhaps surprises waiting for us later this year. Finally, there is the Raven Alliance, the Clan Snow Raven dominated state in the east of the map in all of this. They had more than a subtle influence on their neighbors over the years, including playing an influential role in House Davian's internal affairs. With the Ilclan reformed, we've yet to hear from the Ravens, or their input in this situation. But we know they will appear. Doing what, or fighting who, we are yet to know. But they do sit next to both the Suns and the Dragon. This is the world one might put their eyes onto in the next sourcebook we will see later this year. The Dragon's Ton lay in jeopardy with Julian Davian seeking to save his nation and secure his power. Toranaga must win to maintain his hold over the Coordinator. But does the Coordinator still need Toranaga? Will the bear rip itself apart? Will the Dominion stay divided? If it is united, by whom will it be united? To those who support the Star League, or those who wish to be independent? What will the Taurians and the Calderon Protectorate do? And where and when will Snow Raven enter the fray? We're going to find out, but only once these dominions are divided. Thank you for joining me here today. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. There is new content on this channel very frequently, and I'd appreciate your support. Also, a huge thank you to all of the members who support this channel, as these videos are only possible because of viewers like you. With that, I will catch everyone in the comments section below.